Hello, BookTube. Hello, friends. Welcome to Lizzie Faye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth, and today is Friday, January 8th, 2021. This is my first Friday Reads video for the year. I didn't do a Friday Reads video last week on the 1st because I was just getting started with some brand new books, and all of the books that I finished the night before I included in my December wrap-up. So I didn't really have anything to talk about on December 1st, on January 1st. And so now it's 1 week later, and I want to share with you the books that I have been reading this week. I've had just a few finishes, but honestly, I am slowing way down with my audiobooks this year. I have heard Sarah from the Bookish Knitter mention that she started, I think, back in December, cutting down on the audiobooks that she was listening to. And for me, it may be for different reasons. I'm not really sure. But I just realized that I was neglecting some other things that I wanted to watch or listen to that I could be doing instead of listening to audiobooks. Now, I love audiobooks, but I had been neglecting BookTube, and that's something that's really important to me for obvious reasons. And several of you who watch me also do videos, and I had been neglecting watching a lot of the videos of the people that I enjoy watching, and I had not been seeking out new booktubers and supporting them, and that's something that I really want to make an effort to do. Now, my best friend Tanya from Virginia, she accused me of neglecting my family by, reading and listening to so many books. And, I may have done some of that. If you ask my daughter Katie, she would say yes, because her love language is quality time. Now, I personally don't think I neglected her as much as she might think that I did, but it doesn't really matter. I need to make sure I don't neglect my family, and I need to make sure that I don't neglect my housework. And now, of course, I can do housework while I'm listening to audiobooks, and I will continue to do that. But people ask me, how did you read 430 books? And I'm like, one of my answers is by neglecting everything else. And, it's okay to neglect the things that aren't important, but it's not okay to neglect the things that are important. So going forward, I want to do some other things other than just listening to audiobooks. I want to listen to more podcasts. My friend Tanya, who was the one who was getting on to me because she thought that I had neglected my family, she told me about a podcast that she likes to listen to called Things You Should Know. And I looked that up. A lot of those episodes are on Scribd, and I'm a Scribd member. In fact, I am going to start putting a link in my videos now where if you want to try Scribd, then if you use my link to refer you, then we can both get some benefits of that. I think you get an extra month and I get an extra month or something like that. So definitely check out Scribd if you want to give that a try. But anyway, so back to my goals. I want to watch and even listen. I can do other things while I'm listening to BookTube, and make sure that I comment to, the people who care about comments and some of the bigger booktubers, I don't even know if they read their comments, but all of us kind of on this level, comments are everything. And when you take the time to comment, even if it's just hello, good morning, or send it a couple of emojis, that's at least meaningful to those of us who have smaller channels. So thank you if you take the time to comment. And so I, as a result, I try to make sure that I take time to comment, and I don't always. Sometimes I have my hands in dishwater and I'm watching a video. I'm sitting, I'll have my phone sitting in my kitchen window and I'm watching, and I'm, it'll go from one video to the next, and I forget to go back and comment. And so I don't want to do that, but, if that's the only way I can get something watched, then, I will. But I don't know. I'm just rambling. I just want to make people a priority. I think that's what I'm trying to say. And I'm getting teared up, and it's supposed to be a Friday Reads. So I want to make people a priority. I want to maybe do more buddy reads, and I want to interact more with people, like not just people who comment to my videos, but I want to make sure that I am out there watching other people and commenting to them and that type of thing. So Anyway, wow, I got off on a big tangent. Sometimes if I do this, I just stop the camera and I start over. But I think I'm going to leave this in because I got to hold myself accountable, and it's important. So, this is not even my goals video. I'm going to be coming back with a goals video, but it's Friday, so let me just get into my Friday reads. So, oh my goodness. Wow. All right. So, our pastor's wife, we just, at our local church, just called a new interim pastor to our church, who is wonderful. He is a retired pastor from a very large church in our county, and I mean, he's the big time as far as pastors go in this area, and it's so exciting to have him at our small little church, and I'm just excited to see what kind of growth will happen, with him at the helm. But his wife is just amazing, so sweet, and she gave me a Christmas gift, and this was the big gift. There was a couple of other small things in the bag as well, but she gave me this book, which I'll probably show again when I do a Christmas book haul. But this is by Lysa TerKeurst. It's called Embraced. I don't know if you can see that, the gold there, but it's called Embraced, 100 Devotions to Know God is Holding You Close. And she was telling me a little bit about the history, Lysa TerKeurst and her history, and she's been through a lot of trying things, and I have heard of her, but I've never read anything by her. So this is very good. This has, like I said, 100 devotions, and I've been reading one a day. I started on January 1st, so it'll take me through, mid-April, when we get to the 100th day of the year. And this is a wonderful book, and so I appreciate her so much. And another really cool thing, we got to talking. She is a book lover. She loves mysteries and thrillers and everything. So I'm super excited to have both of them in my life now at our church and our church, part of our church family. And I hope that they will be with us for a while. He's our interim pastor, which means he's just in our church until we call a full-time pastor. I don't know, any of you who are not, who don't attend a Southern Baptist church, different churches work differently. And in a Southern Baptist church, each church works independently, even though we're part of a cooperative program to support our missionaries. Each church has the freedom to call a pastor, and if they feel called by Jesus to come, then it's mutual, and they become your pastor for as long as they feel led to be there. So that's kind of how it works. And anyway, well, you got my self-confession and then my Bible, not Bible lesson, but our church history lesson. Oh my goodness, this video is going off so many deep ends. But anyway, so for my devotional, I did finish reading the Bible all the way through. So instead of starting over again right now, I'm also reading one of my older Journey magazines. It's a January edition from several years ago that I still had over here on my shelf. And I'm reading that, and that includes some scripture and also scripture you can look up. And so I'm doing that. Then I'm reading the page or two out of this book. It's like 2 or 3 pages. And then I started on January 1st reading Secrets of the Vine by Bruce Wilkinson. And I finished this today. It has 9 chapters, but I went ahead and read the last 2 chapters today just so that I could count it finished and, move on to other things for these few days in between now and Ribsat. So this was very good. This is the same author of Prayer of Jabez, which I read in the last few days of December. I had read it before, but I had not read this before. I've got 1 or 2 other books from this series on my shelf, and I thought I might go right on into the next one, but I think I'm going to wait just because I've got several other things going right this minute. But maybe next month I will read the next one, or the one that I have in this series. This one, Secrets of the Vine, is an analysis of John 15, and where it talks about, I'm the vine, you're the branches, and it really breaks that down, and so eye-opening, because it's easy to read that quickly and just think you know what it means, but he really analyzed it and made me think of some things that I had not thought about from reading that, and I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was fantastic. So this is something I would read again, maybe yearly. I think it's great, and the same with Prayer of Jabez. So I'm glad I have those. I can't even remember what the other one is that I have, but it's around the corner. Around here, I have a shelf that has little tiny books. It's a short shelf, and so my collection of little tiny books, which this is, it's small. I can fit it in the palm of my hand almost. Then that's where it usually rests. And so the first book I finished for the year, I have started over the last few years when since I got on Goodreads, and I noticed that Goodreads does that My Year in Books, and it shows you your first review and your last review of the year. I want my first review to be something uplifting and inspirational and meaningful. So I started 2 or 3 years ago making sure that whatever book I finish first is something that fits that criteria. So I don't have a physical copy, but I did listen to a book of essays by C.S. Lewis. It was called Searching for God, and I have come to the decision, though, after listening to that's not the first C.S. Lewis book I've listened to on audio, that to read and really digest nonfiction by C.S. Lewis, I need to see that with my eyes, because I have tried listening to The Four Loves, and even though I did a study of this in college, or a Sunday school class that I was in, did a study of that, I just need to see it to digest it. Now, I just finished reading A Year with C.S. Lewis, and this has really made me want to read everything by C.S. Lewis. Now, I listened to Chronicles of Narnia on audio, and that was fine, because that's fiction. And his science fiction planet, whatever trilogy he has, space trilogy or something, I think I can listen to those on audio and be fine. But his nonfiction is so deep and philosophical and thought-provoking that for me to digest it, I need to read it. Now, the Searching for God was perfectly fine and wonderful. It's on Hoopla. It is an abridged version, I think, of a larger collection of essays. It's some selected essays, and I did recognize at least one of them from this book that I knew I had read before. But anyway, it was fine. It accomplished what I wanted to accomplish by listening and finishing something very uplifting at the beginning of the year. And so now I have finished this book. But this was not the second book I finished. The second book I finished was a little Christmassy book by Caroline Mickelson, which was from the Christmas Central series. I had checked it out on Hoopla. It was literally less than an hour and a half long. And it's a cute series. I've talked about it before. Book number 5 is where I started with the series, and I didn't love that one, but I had read other things by her and enjoyed them enough that I wanted to go ahead and just go back to the beginning of that series. So I listened to the first book in that series in October because it was on Audible Escape and was not on Hoopla. But 2, 3, 4, and 5 are on Hoopla on audio, and so I listened to 2 and 3 in December on Hoopla, and then I just didn't have time to get to book 4, and it was on, I had already checked it out and just went ahead and got that done. I don't have a way to put a picture. When I talk about my goals this year, that is one of the things that I need to work on, is improving my channel and improving my knowledge of technology so that I can put pictures here like everybody else does. Okay, then the next book that I finished is actually the next 2 books I finished are library books. And so I'm going to kind of do a library haul and show you all the books I have checked out from the library in a few minutes. But let me talk about some of the other current reads that I am doing. This is a Christmas gift from my husband and my daughter. They each got me a copy. So I think Katie ended up returning hers because this was the first one that I opened. This is the Declutter Challenge by Cassandra Aarssen. I have been working through this, and I was doing a step a day until yesterday. I think I missed yesterday or day before, and so I need to get caught back up. But this is basically a workbook where you work through your clutter on paper first, and challenge yourself with what you want to do, and it's very good. So then that kind of got me thinking about the Fly Lady. Now, I used to be what I would consider a fly baby. Back in the day when she first published her book, Sync Reflections. Now, the Fly Lady, if you don't know, is Marla. Is it pronounced Cilley or Cilley? I don't know. Cilley. I could look. EY, yes. So, I have a copy of Sync Reflections, which I've read a couple times, I think. I have a copy of Body Clutter, which I have not read, obviously. And then I didn't know she had any other books out, and I went to search my library, and I found this one, The Chaos Cure. Now, chaos in the Fly Lady world stands for Can't Have Anyone Over Syndrome, and that is a syndrome I have suffered with, here and there over the years. Not always, but, some days I just would not want to invite anyone in the door. Mainly it was when we were remodeling, and for obvious reasons. But anyway, my living room is pretty good right now, and someone could come in. But the rest of my house, I would not invite anyone into this room, which is funny because I invite you into this room all the time. But you can only see this much. You can't see everything around me, and I have got to get this mess cleared up. I just have to. It's the new year. It's time for new goals. Perpetually, my goals for the new year are always to lose weight and get organized. And I don't just wait till the new year to do them. These are goals that I have constantly, continually, and right now, today is no exception. Here I go. I'm getting off on tangents. I have so many videos I want to do that I'm crossing over, and this is supposed to just be Friday Reads. Okay, so then just last night I started, let me get into, I wasn't going to show you any library books, but this is a library book. Let me show you the other two books that I own, that I'm reading, that are not library books, and then everything else is a library book. I started on Scribd, on audio, book 2 in the Dearest Dorothy series, which is Slow Down, You're Wearing Us Out. This is by Charlene and Baumbich, and I have not got very far in this because I've been watching BookTube and not listening to audiobooks, which I'm happy about. And this, though, is super cute. Dorothy, I think, is 87, so she is a main character who's a senior citizen, and I'm going to be doing a whole video about that category of books very soon. And then I also started, finally, True Love and Homegrown Tomatoes by Julie L. Cannon. This is the first book in the trilogy that was on my 20 by 20 challenge that I did not get read. Yesterday, I filmed my wrap-up of my 20 by 20 challenge, and I talked about Stack 18, which was 6 trilogies, which would total 18 books. I only got 5 of those particular trilogies read in 2020, or no, in that 3-year period, 2018 to 2020, and I did not get this one done. Another thing I forgot to mention in that video, and because almost all of them were adult trilogies, except for The Herdmans, which is by Barbara Robinson, I did mention. I had that, The Herdmans was not on my original list of the 6 trilogies, because I had put a series by Lori Wick on there that I thought was a trilogy, and then turned out that series had 4 books. So I had to do some shuffling around. I did end up reading that 4-book series by Lori Wick, and I finished the last one in December. That was the English Garden series. But I just threw the Herdmans into that stack because I just needed a trilogy quick to fill that hole. And it turned out to be a fantastic trilogy. So, anyway, I don't need to go off on that. I should do a review of that whole trilogy. It's adorable. They're perfect. Okay, so then, anyway, back to this. This is a trilogy that has been sitting on my shelves down here for I don't know how long. I sent my sister a copy of this first book, and she liked it okay. She said she didn't love it, but she liked it. And I'm just barely started. But this is definitely a trilogy that I want to read. I've heard people compare this author to Fannie Flagg, and it's set in Georgia, so it's Southern, a little bit of Southern humor, maybe a little bit inspirational. And I'm just really excited about this series or trilogy. And then from the library yesterday, I picked up some books that I had on hold, and I am up to book 3 in the Chronicles of Predate by Lloyd Alexander. And this is for my Newbery project because I am very close to having read all of the books of the 1960s, the Newbery winners. And The High King is book 5 in this series, and I don't want to read it until I've read the rest of the series. So this is book 3, and I just read a few pages in it last night, and I'm excited about it. I'm glad to get that read. I've had this one checked out for a little while, and I just started it in my car on CD. This is book 4 in the Flavia de Luce series by Alan Bradley. I am half sick of shadows. This one is set at Christmas time, and so I had hoped to maybe get to it in December, but I was still listening to book 3 in my car. Got done with that, and then I had the Fanny Flagg book to listen to there, and then that was the end of the month. So I'm listening to this now, and it's fun. So yesterday I was at the library, and I picked up a book off the new release shelf that caught my eye, and I sat and read the entire thing while I was waiting to talk to the other leader of book club who works at the library. And this is too funny. It's called Okay Boomer. Now, I am a baby boomer. I am from the tail end of the baby boom era. I was born November 1st of 1964, and the baby boom era officially ends at the end of 1964. So literally, I am one of the youngest people in the baby boom generation. So I feel like I'm kind of at the edge of it, but I still feel very much a part of that generation, although I didn't, thankfully, get into, I was still a little bit young for the hippie movement and all of that, and, sex, drugs, and rock and roll and all that kind of stuff. I'm not, I didn't, buy into all of that, but I do remember growing up in the 70s. I started school in 1970 and, finished high school in 1982. So the 70s were definitely a big part of my life. And I know exactly what they're talking about in most of these things. There's a couple of things that I'm not sure about. And I would say there are a couple of things. As I was reading them, I thought, that's not outdated. And to that, some of you would say, okay, boomer. Yes, it is. So anyway, it's a very quick, simple book to read. It's just one-liners and with the response, okay, boomer. So it was a lot of fun. And I could have just checked it right back in, but I wanted to show it to you. And I thought it was hilarious. Now, my third book I finished for the year is also a library book. I listened to this on Hoopla, but I've got a copy of it here. This is for our book club. So I will do a couple of videos showing you all of the books that my local book club is going to be reading. But our January book for our mystery book club, which we call the Whodunit Book Club, and I have some old threads on my on Mystery Madness Goodreads group where I was attempting at one point to try to involve all of you in what we were reading locally. I was horrible at keeping up with that. So those old threads are still there, and I don't know if I'm going to try to ever revive that or not. But anyway, this is what we're reading this month. I just finished it. It is Track of the Cat by Nevada Barr. It's the first book in the Anna Pigeon series. I like the story and the mystery and the setting and all that, but I did not enjoy reading about Anna herself. She was just very cynical, kind of rubbed me the wrong way from the very beginning. And if you've ever read this, you probably could figure out why. But I just did not enjoy her character. And you guys know I am very character driven. If I don't really like a character, I have a hard time standing behind them. And I just don't enjoy the book as much as a result. Now, I'm just saying that about fictional characters. In real life, I'm not going to hold that against you. We might not see eye to eye on things in real life, but I'm not going to say I don't like you because you don't believe the same way I do. That's not the case. But in fictional characters, I can say I don't like them. And she was just cynical. That's a good way, I think, to describe her. Okay, so while I'm on the subject of book club, this is what we're reading for my main book club, which we call the Literati book club, and it's mostly literary fiction. We throw in a classic at least once a year. We try to do at least one classic and at least one nonfiction. But this one, I believe, is based on a true story. We are doing one later in the year that will be straight up nonfiction. We usually read that in November. But this one is called The Only Woman in the Room by Marie Benedict. And this is about Hedy Lamarr and her story. So I did not realize what a history that she had. And I'm going to have to get my glasses now in case you've never heard of this book. I'm not going to read you the back, but let me just remind myself of what her story was. Well, goodness. It had something to do with Hitler. Maybe she was a spy. She was a scientist. This almost certainly saved her from the rising Nazi party and led to marriage with an Austrian arms dealer. I said I wasn't going to read it. That was the first paragraph. She possessed a stunning beauty. She also possessed a stunning mind. How could the world handle both? So, anyway, sounds really interesting. I cannot find this on audio anywhere unless I actually buy it, like from Audible, and I'm going to have to sit down and read it if it gets read, and I need to start it now because I've got 2 weeks till this book club meets, and I need to get on that. Then for that same book club, the next month, we are reading The Bookwoman of Troublesome Creek. Now, this is on audio and Hoopla, so I went ahead and just checked out a copy of it because I want to go ahead and get this one read this month. I like to try to read ahead and not be right up to the minute trying to get a book club book done because I'm not good at reading under pressure. I can read okay. I'm really not a fast reader, but I feel like I can get books read faster if I don't feel pressure of having to get them done right away. So I like to go ahead and read it. And then I have 2 other books that I had checked out near the end of December that I didn't get to, and I want to get to them this month. Christmas Cowbells by Molly Cox Bryan is the first book, I believe, in the Buttermilk Creek series, something like that. Yes, Buttermilk Creek Mystery series. And my subscriber and friend Donna, who used to have the channel name Paradonna Palimpsest, and she has now changed it to something Studio in the Library. Anyway, she has been telling me about a scrapbooking series by Molly Cox Bryan, and I have not read any of those, so I have not read anything by her, but this is the first in series, and so this was our Book One Cozies Club pick for December, and Book One Cozies Club is hosted by Di from Dice's 19 Hearts. You should be sure and check her out. She doesn't do a lot of videos, but when she does some great ones. So be sure to check her out. And she also knits and crochets, I think, and reads manga and all that. So she could use some more subscribers. Anyway, Christmas Cowbells is what she read in December. I didn't get to it, but I do want to get to this one this month if possible. It's on ebook on Hoopla. So I'm wondering if Hoopla will allow you to do the text-to-talk. I know when you buy Kindle books, you can do that, but I don't know if you can do that with Hoopla ebooks or not. I need to look into that because that might be a way I could for sure get to that one. And then one I had wanted to get to at Christmas and I didn't. This is also on audio on Hoopla. Amish Christmas at North Star. And this is by Cindy Woodsmall, Mindy Starnes-Clark, and Emily Clark, Amanda Flower, and Katie Gansert. So there's at least 4 short stories in here, 4 or 5. And I wanted to get to this at Christmas, and I didn't. So then I've got 2 other library books checked out just because I may not be ready to read them right now, but I've been going through all my series that I want to read at some point. And it has become obvious to me, not just recently, but I've known this a while. Libraries don't keep everything indefinitely. If things don't get checked out, they get rid of them. I know that because I've bought things at library sales that libraries have weeded out. And I really want to read these books, and I don't know that anyone's checking them out right now, and I wanted to make sure that somebody checks them out so that when I do get ready to read these books, they are there for me. One of the trilogies I started because the first book was a Sunshine State book. It's called Randoms, and I loved it. It's a science fiction adventure. This is the second book, Rebels, and the third book is called Renegades. I was excited to see, though, when I went to look these up in the library, that there are 2 copies in my county of the third book, and they're both checked out right now. So that means somebody's reading these, and that's great. But this was on the shelf, and I thought, I'm just going to go ahead and pick it up. I might actually sit down with it and read some of it. I don't know. It's by David Lys, and thoroughly loved the first book. It was super cute. And then coming up soon, in fact, next week, wait for an announcement, you will hear something about the Little House Readathon. I'm not going to give you details right now, but this is the first book in the Martha series. And I had really, really hoped that during my announcement video, I was going to be able to announce something even bigger than just the readathon. However, these books are quickly disappearing from the library shelves, and I'm going to talk more about it later next week. I also have a co-host this year, so I'll keep it a surprise for now, but I mean, in her videos, if she wants to go ahead and announce that she's going to be a co-host, that's totally fine. But next Friday, the 15th, we will be coming out with announcement videos regarding the Little House Readathon, and so that's coming up. But meanwhile, I checked this out because I don't want the library to get rid of this, and I want to make sure that all of these books in all of these Little House series that the library still has are available when I get ready to read them, because they're out of print and they're not even on ebook. So we're going to be talking about more about that next week and what I propose that we do about that. But anyway, I have that checked out right now. And then one other new release I almost forgot about because it was so big I had it sitting over here. Oh, I just dropped a book on my foot. That wasn't nice. Anyway, thankfully I didn't drop this book on my foot because it's huge. And I saw this first maybe in a video or maybe on Goodreads. I don't know. And it's just looked beautiful. And so I contacted, well, first I went on our library website to see if anyone, if any of the libraries in our county had it. And there was one library that had it, and already a few people, I think, had requested it. So I contacted our librarian and said, hey, can we order this for our library? And she did. And so here is the book. It is Dolly Parton, Songteller. This is a gorgeous book, and it goes through the songs of Dolly Parton and the stories behind them. It's got beautiful photography, and it just looks fantastic. I am a Dolly Parton fan. I just think she's wonderful, and I sort of fell down a rabbit hole of watching some of her more recent videos lately where she's just been talking and answering questions and doing interviews and things like that, because she had a new Christmas album that came out, the Holly Dolly Christmas, and this just came out, and it's gorgeous. So I am looking forward to sitting down with this. I don't know if I'll read it word for word right now, but at some point I definitely want to. It is just a gorgeous book. So that is what I am currently reading. That's what I have checked out from the library. That is that and then some. I've gotten off onto more tangents this week, and I'm already at 33 minutes. My goodness, I did not intend to go on this long for a Friday Reads video. But if you've made it to the end, thank you so much for sticking with me. And if you've made it to the end, maybe at least just send me an emoji of some sort, and maybe like some kind of a Happy New Year emoji, and I'll know you made it to the end. But I would love it even more if you would comment and just say hi, or tell me about the books you're reading, or what your goals are for this year. I think my next video will be the bookish things I got for Christmas. It will be short, and then my goals for 2021. So that's all for this video. I hope you are having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.